Good morning, everybody. If you are here for Fresh Start, I'd love for you to join us at the table. I promise we won't bite you. Come closer.
That's your word. I'll leave it.
So Oscar, come on up. I'm going to call you out. David, Melanie, Rob. Y'all come up, get a little closer.
Sit in the back of the room with other troublemakers.
Back your class.
Probably.
If you haven't had a chance to grab a card and put your name on it for the door prize, please do so. I think I've caught most folks. I want to welcome everyone to our last Fresh Start morning of 2023. Thank you so much for coming out and joining us and supporting the Little Sober Bar. I'm Lee Smith. I'm with the Cherokee Office of Economic Development, and I help oversee our entrepreneurship programs, and Fresh Start Mornings is one of them. And so let's get started. As you know, Fresh Start is just one of the services that we provide under our entrepreneurial arm. But with co-ed, we have a variety of services that I just want you to know about in case you didn't. At the end of the day, our overall mission is we want to create community wealth here for the county, the state, and the region. And we want to diversify that tax base and job creation, sales tax, motel tax at the end of the day. But how we do that is really through our services, our core services, and we really are in 6 areas. We want to have our industries retain here and expand. We want to recruit, have the real estate and the product here so that people want to come here. We want to be attractive, and we want to grow Cherokee County. And then we have our workforce development, our Be Proud program, where we promote the skilled trades, film, and then entrepreneurship, where Fresh Start lives. Fresh Start Cherokee is our umbrella, our overall initiative, where we want to create a community of entrepreneurship. And we want to do that through Fresh Start, the circuit that you're in, the co-working space, as well as NAV, which is our North Atlanta Venture Mentoring Service Program, where we work with businesses who want to scale and grow. We want to thank our community partners for coming to the table and helping us keep things moving. And want to thank the Reformation Brewery for our space on the 3rd Wednesday, Circle of Friends for our coffee on the 1st Wednesday, Corridor Publishing for filming us every time, and then Polar Night IT for our photography. And then lastly, before I bring up our speaker, this is one of the ways that we support our small businesses here, our local communities here. And we either have a presenter come and share a topic that's pertinent to small businesses, whether it's sales or marketing or operations, things that y'all need to have in order to function as a small business, or we have a business come and share their story, and more importantly, share their challenges. What's happening, what's going on, how are they struggling, and then we're going to pitch it to you to give them some solutions. So I'm going to have Bryttany come up, and I'm going to have her share her story. It's very, very unique, and I think it's a perfect way to end our 2023 series and kick off this holiday season. So, Bryttany, I'm turning it over to you.
Hi, I'm Bryttany. I know some of you, most of you. Thanks for coming. Alright, so this is our table of contents. We're going to start with the story of the brand. You can go ahead. Okay, so a little bit about me. I'm Bryttany Hyde. I have been in Cherokee County for 13 plus years. You might have seen me at Woodstock, which is where I used to work. I was the floor manager. And during COVID, I established and raised $13,000 for the Downtown Woodstock Food Industry Fund. So you could say that my heart has always been with the food industry or with this industry. I have a background in floor management, in restaurants, corporate office management, mixology, photography. Basically, I've done a lot of things. Oh, and I've been sober for a little over 11 months. So here's our story. This is my family. My husband helped build the bar, so the bar that's outside, he built most of it. I like to joke and say that I was the HGTV person, you know, the expert, that says, I have this great idea, and then you see them standing, and then that's it. That's all they did. Okay, I did more than standing, but still. And then these are my 2 kids. So our story really started is, a long time ago, we thought about doing a tiny house. So I've always told my kids that by the time they're 18, I want them to build their own trailer or camper, something like that, so they always have a place to live. I didn't know that I was going to open a sober bar out of one. But now we have all this knowledge, so we can help them. It's great. I started the sober journey because of my family and just really trying to get my home life in order, because I noticed the more I drank, the less my home life was aligned, unfortunately. So what we did was we started with this camper, lovely camper right here, and in 43 days we turned it into the bar. We did it in 43 days because we had a big event at the end of that, but also because you can really do anything one day at a time. And we really wanted to prove that, and that is a sober term, is that you can do anything one day at a time. Okay, so by the numbers, this is basically a little bit more about our story. Social media since inception in August 10th, we have grown our Instagram from 0 followers to over 600. Our Facebook growth is more than that, actually. It's at 730-ish. And then we have several 5-star Google reviews from weddings, pop-ups, vendor events, just all of our options that we have on the bar, that kind of thing. Our sales have grown exponentially. Between October and November, we had an increase of 244%. Part of that was because of the different types of events we were doing, but the other part was really pushing the marketing and really sharing why we were doing a sober bar. And then last week, I won a contest. It was a pitch contest in Fayette County to tell them about the sober bar, give them a little bit more knowledge about what we do, and hopefully inspire them to bring us down to that county as well as here. So spreading the word that something cool is coming to Cherokee County, so other counties would want it as well. So why a sober bar? If you've noticed the marketing trends lately, it's leaning towards Gen Z, millennials. They are not drinking as much. Gen Zs are actually choosing, 70% of them are choosing not to drink, that's your next target market. A lot of people got caught up during COVID drinking a lot, and so they're kind of rounding that corner and drinking less. So that's a big reason why we did a sober bar. For me personally, stopping drinking was extremely difficult because there wasn't any options. I am a cocktail in my hand, something fancy, something delicious, and that's part of why we decided to do this. So this is a little bit more about that. These are all 2023 stats, so they're all from this year. 34% of people are trying to drink less this year. 45% are interested in going to a sober bar. Several people are choosing, especially Gen Z, they're choosing cannabis or adaptogens or any other type of infusions in their drinks, in their beverages, except for alcohol. So they're shying away from alcohol. They've either, down here you can tell, they either have tried or want to try all these different options, which we have at the sober bar. So here's the problem that we found. I've already touched on this a little bit. The problem we found was selection. In many cases, your selections are limited to mainstream sodas, lemonade, water, pretty much a sparkling water, getting a little fancy. There's not that much out there. It's starting to trend upwards with the increase of sober bars, but that was the biggest problem for me, is that I wanted to choose to abstain from alcohol, but I didn't want to feel like a child. And I could just have what's at the kids' table. I wanted an adult drink. The access was another problem, is that most sober bars and sober bottle shops, anything like that, they're in the city. They're either in Atlanta, there's some in California, but they're all in the city. So for people like me, a mom lives in the neighborhood, it's kind of annoying to drive to Atlanta. I don't know about you, I don't like driving to Atlanta. That's just my personal preference, not just to get one drink. I want the drink options to come to me. And then, it's just not a vibe. While some restaurants and bars are including alcohol alternatives, they're typically choosing to chase the high of alcohol and not provide an option. So that's really what the problem lied. It was selection, access, and making sure that people had choices. Everyone had a choice, not just people who were seeking to replace alcohol. So the way that we found the solution for that is that we have a wide selection. We have over 30 canned options on our trailer that we bring with us every time we pop up at a different venue. And that is made up of 2 different menus. So that's a vibe for everyone. We have 2 different menus. We have a strictly sober menu and a sober curious menu. So everything on the strictly sober menu is 0% alcohol, no infusions, nothing like that. Sober curious, however, it kind of bridges that gap between I'm choosing to drink less, but I'm not quite ready to give up everything. I am still chasing that high, if you will. So we do have kava, CBD, adaptogens, and then our low ABV options as well. So that would be non-alcoholic beers and other mocktails that have the 0.5% of alcohol by volume. So basically as much as a mouthwash. And then we're bringing the options to you. So that's that access piece. Is that we do private parties, pickup delivery, festivals, corporate events, you name it, we'll pull up. That's what we do. Our local delivery is $5. So if you're in the Woodstock area and you want to get something, you can order online. You get 5% off any 4 cans or more, and then we bring them right to your door. So here's our big mission statement, but I'm just going to sum it all up. What we do is we provide non-alcoholic options via mobile trailer pop-ups at private events and direct to consumers via online sales. Basically, we're just bridging that gap of bringing options to people. So let's talk a little bit more about our customer. I know I've touched on it a little bit, Gen Z, millennials. So we are really focusing on health-conscious millennials. So it's typically people who either realize they're drinking too much and they need to slow down. They are seeking out health and alternative options for their health and livelihood. Or it's just all of Gen Z. It's just all of it. And here's the why. The Z factor. So this is something that I've researched a lot about, is that the Gen Z, they're just changing the way people shop. They're changing the way people view things. They're changing the way that even millennials and above are viewing drinking or shopping, all of that. Gen Z has they have this ability, especially like on TikTok, that kind of thing, to really change the way people are thinking. I try to go to a C store, so like a convenience store vibes for us, because we are somewhat a convenience option. So if you look at these statistics right here, you can tell that Gen Z they like using a delivery service. They like buying a product that's promoted on social media. Like, these are all things that we're doing, that we're actively doing to make sure that we're covering that market and making sure that we're becoming an option for them. So this is more about our customer. Like I said, 70% of Gen Zs are not drinking, because they don't want to. And then about 20 to 28% of college-age students, which if you think about the shopping and the age that we are in, Gen Z is that next wave that's going to start shopping and ordering things. So basically, everybody's starting to drink less. Here are our questions, just to wrap it all up. I have 3 main questions. Our first one is, how can we find funding for additional parts? So our goal is, we have the trailer, but to expand, we want to build a smaller cart. That way we can do indoor events and just smaller events. So to do so, and with all of that, we are launching a sales rep to franchise program. That will happen in the next 2 to 3 years for us. But in order to start that, we need to start pushing the funding. So we're looking at grants, we're looking at angel investors, and we're looking at just booking more events. Our second question is, how can we improve our marketing to appeal to more than just pop-up opportunities and vendor events? So what we've noticed is that a lot of people want us at their event. They're like, hey, we're inviting you out, come on out. But at the same time, we have a booking fee, and we have different ways that we bring our cart out there. We're not just popping up anymore. We're really trying to push this as a business and less as just bringing options to people. So corporate parties, sweet 16s, baby showers, any festivals, paid events, anything that you guys have in mind that we could come to, we would love to. And then our last question is, a lot of people have been requesting a brick and mortar sober bar. We like our mobile vibe because we like bringing the options to people. That's like our main thing, aside from just drinking less, is we like the fact that we're mobile. However, there is a need and a want for a permanent location. So our question is, what do you think? Should we have a permanent location or should we keep it mobile? What is, I don't really know. That's true. Yeah. Just want to hear your feedback on that.
And we don't have to go in order. You can move around if you want to answer 3, if you want to answer 1, answer 2. You don't have to go in any specific order. John, I see your hand.
I'd rather wait for 3.
You want to wait? Well, you don't need to do it now. Just do it now.
I think stabilization is very important. From the business point of view, being mobile is a good plus, but having it solely dependent on the business could be a downfall per se. I don't want to say downfall. It won't allow you to grow as fast as a stable location would. I'm basing this based off of what you could see in all the major cities. Yes, there are a lot of taco trucks and etc., but when you compare it with the restaurants that's available, they're thriving much faster. It's great to dip your foot in the water to see what's happening, and from what I see from my point of view that you're doing well, I think that it should be considered in your next possibly 2-year plan.
So before I provide my feedback, my question to you would be, what is your vision? Like, what do you see the answers to these 3 being?
That's a great question. So I have a very clear idea of what I want our permanent location to look like and what I want it to be. However, I haven't taken the jump to say, yes, that's what I want to do. I'm very much a following the flow of how things go in the business. I really like the fact that we're mobile. I like that we bring options to people because it's what sets us apart. It's what makes us different, is that any restaurant can bring in options. We are trying to be different. So yes, I like the idea of maybe in this 2 to 3 year range, 4 to 5 years maybe sooner, would be great. That's all with the funding side of things. Grants wise, we're applying to all of the grants right now. So I'm there, and I don't really have an answer for number 2 because I do pretty good at marketing. Other ideas would be welcome.
So out of, I guess, pop-up opportunities and vendor events, which one's more profitable for you?
I would say, so far what we've learned is that vendor events have been more profitable, but I can see pop-ups changing next year. So in the slower months when it's not, holiday season, when people are out doing things, that's going to be our struggle, is finding the people. So pop-ups, when people hire us with that booking fee to show up places, that's going to be more profitable year-round, not just in the holiday season or in the summer.
Okay. So my first thought on number 1 is figuring out where there's an aligned interest with other businesses. So something that comes to mind is like a weekend holiday party. Employers seem to be more comfortable with providing alcohol, cash bar, that sort of thing. There's plenty of corporate businesses that are doing events during the work week, where alcohol would be less included. Think of bulk orders from Moe's or anything where you're bringing in box lunches for companies. So I think maybe getting with local businesses that are already doing catering during the work week, and then they can totally up their offer to their clients. You can get yourself in the door because they're incentivized to get you in the door, because what they're now offering the end user, the corporate client, is so much better. Who else is, hey, so you'll now deliver all the food, right? You'll set up the food, you'll do everything for them, and then you'll also get in front of these clients and you'll be able to sell your product, or however that looks. That would be one idea. Another one to tackle this would be figuring out what businesses would essentially put in, instead of it being a cart that could be moved around, like why not, if it's a business that you're going to be at regularly, why wouldn't they just invest in a booth or a space of where you show up, right? So the experience with their employees is, hey, working here, we have this person, they come in once a week, once a month, and they just set up, and this is like part of our, Friday pizza parties, whatever that might look like. So thinking about businesses of where there's an aligned interest. And then the permanent location, I don't think that I would go to it, and I don't drink. That's just a choice, and there would have to be, I think, another feature for me to want to go there. But that's just me.
Yeah, I'm so punk rock. I also don't drink. It's been almost 2 years for me, and I guess kind of just to follow up on what David said, as far as a permanent location, I don't know that as a non-drinker I would want to be like, oh, I want to go get a fancy drink, so I'm going to go to a permanent location and go hang out at it, unless there was other stuff like that was heavily bringing me into it, Now your mobile stuff has been great, and we've certainly brought the boys over and enjoyed the outings while we see you out. But as far as going out to a permanent location for a sober bar, to piggyback on him, as your target audience, I don't know that that's going to bring me out for a fancy cocktail drink that is, just no alcohol. So I don't know that I would do the permanent location, but I love the mobile aspect of it. And I know I've shared this with you before, but when we did the Dia de los Muertos, she was catty corner to us. And so I got to see like everybody swarming over her, and the line was deep, and while the line was reaching where we were, I heard people say, hey, I've seen her on Instagram, and I'm super curious about it. Let's go check it out. So everything that you're saying right now, I've seen, like in the real life, people talking about, this is really cool, I need to know more about this. Mobile, 100%. Whether permanent, I don't know that there's much call for that at this point here in Woodstock. You were saying, California, deep in the city, absolutely. But is it going to work here in Woodstock? I don't know.
I think it's good to ask any question at any stage. I think the third question, two things there. My gut just feels like maybe it's too early, like for anybody, including you, to maybe assess whether that's even a need. With Reformation, for those who know the story, they started homebrewing and took a couple of years before they got to a location, because where you are now, it's low risk, low capital compared to brick and mortar, which is high risk, high capital, lots of money. And so it could potentially be a shiny object, which I think all entrepreneurs are aware of. So not saying it is, but I think being aware of our own, the things that get us excited and like table it, bookmark it, that's really interesting. I'm going to pay attention to this, and then get back to where you guys are now, which is people are excited, they're curious, you're still new, it's fresh, you're testing your processes, testing your market. So it's a great question to ask, but it could also be a shiny object, which we all have. I probably have 100 of those.
Hey, Brittany. So your relationship with your canneries. I'm assuming you're pretty much just brokering their products right now.
Yeah, we're wholesale. So we wholesale already made canned beverages and other non-alcoholic spirits. So to sum that up, is basically we bring our trailer full of 30 plus options, but then for private events we can make drinks there. So but yes.
Just kind of ancillary to this, and maybe like directly, if you started white labeling these cans, then I think you could have a lot more freedom to feel comfortable to like go into CBD shops and head shops and local bars and have your product with your brand in your cooler there at their shop. And I would just encourage you to like look at where that direction, what that direction might look like for you. And maybe you've already been there and whatever, but I'm just thinking of like head shops and CBD shops. You need to be there. But if you're wholesaling, then they could just be like, well, we could just do this, right? So you need your brand on it. So yeah, if you can do that, do it.
We've definitely thought about it. It's a big undertaking with someone. So yes, it's definitely in that big shiny object last question that's in that section.
All right, so I have a couple questions. Talk about additional carts. What is your current demand for additional carts?
So the issue that we have is the trailer is so large that we can't put it indoors for any event. So we are having trouble booking events that want us inside. So that's why we want to build like an indoor cart version. We have some prototypes. I didn't put pictures up, but we do have some prototypes that would keep it simple. But as well as, so when we pitched in Fayetteville, like they want us there on a regular basis. The businesses there, the city, like the county, like they want us there. They want the small cart, but they also want the big cart. Like they are very interested. But I can't be in two places at once. I do have staff, quote unquote, that lives there that could take on that. But again, that's the whole, we need to start building other carts, that kind of thing. And that would open our doors up to more opportunities, I think.
So you're talking about getting funding for additional carts. I mean, is there a revenue stream already waiting for you to accept just by building a smaller cart?
Yes.
Does that justify the purchase of a cart or a loan or something?
It does. I think the plan we have for the cart that we want to build is very cost effective, where we can do it ourselves. Honestly, we can, with the interest and everything that we've gained and the financial stability that we have right now, we could build a smaller one. It's just about building multiple smaller carts, because that would be the ideal.
What would be the budget for one of those cars?
I think, what did we say? You don't remember that cart that had I don't remember. I think we said like 700. Yeah, I was going to say about 700-ish to build a cart. Maybe 1,000 if we're going to be conservative about a budget. 1,000. And we built our whole trailer with 11,000. So we know how to like make sure things are correct and do our best.
Yeah, maybe it's just me. $1,000 does not seem like a big obstacle.
Yeah, no. What kind of like angel investor program would you have if somebody's looking to
Investments.
As of right now, we do have one investor. They are a very small investor. But we have not really explored that option yet to see what they would want in exchange for investing in our company. And
money.
Really, yes, money. But like percentage-wise, we don't know exactly what that would look like yet. We would definitely want to open the conversation and talk about it. And we're really pushing towards the grants option first.
So I actually have a couple options for grants. I'll talk to you about those afterwards. There's actually, I'll mention one. There's one in Atlanta that is specifically for Black-owned startups. And they have a building, they have free shipping, they have every UPS code is a sponsor them, so I'll put you in touch with that later. Second question. So to preface the question, when I go to a restaurant and there's an option for a non-alcoholic drink, they're usually pretty expensive. And the only reason I usually get them is because everyone else around me is drinking. And I kind of like want to fit in, maybe, the social pressure, but I want to be like drinking water. When I was vegan, it was kind of the same thing. The reason why Impossible sandwiches and meat exists, because when everyone's at the grill and everyone's having a great time eating, you don't want to be that person eating a fried eggplant. You want to be eating a steak, or something that looks like a steak, and be part of the vibe. So I think when I'm by myself, I don't ever order or buy. I drink water for the most part. So usually drinking fancy drinks like that, I would characterize as fancy, is a social situation. So that being said, prefacing all that information and the social dynamics, what does a typical mocktail cost? If you were to do a pop-up and I walk up, hey, I want to get a margarita, like what does that cost?
So our options range from $3.50 for like a craft soda to a mocktail or a infused mocktail. I think our most expensive is maybe $10 for the infused options. If you're staying in that strictly sober range, it's about $6.50 to $8 a can. And so we do offer that 5% off. That way people can make like 4 packs to take home with them or to take to another social event.
So I think that could be, depending on the demographic, a harder sell, because to them, I'm paying extra for alcohol. I know alcohol is expensive. I know alcohol is taxed. I know restaurants have liquor licenses. I mean, Jonathan, you can speak to that. But even like in Reformation, you can buy sparkle water. It's still expensive for sparkle water because they make it out of the Etowah River. But like, again, the only reason I ever drink that is when I'm there and I want to be social. So like, I'm thinking from a business side of things. If I want to get buyers to, hey, I'm motivated to buy this drink, I think it has to be also a pretty strong financial incentive, because I don't want to feel like I'm paying the same price for a margarita that's made with tequila. I know I'm going to get a buzz off it, and for $2 less, it's a non-effect. Unless it's a CBD option, but I'm pretty sure those are more expensive too, right?
They can be. I think our CBD option is about $8-ish.
Yeah.
A lot of our options too, I'm just going to mention this, the reason they're priced at that point is I've tried, it's really, really difficult to find the best tasting options that have low sugar and low calories. So not everything has low sugar, obviously that's going to be harder to find, but everything that's on our cart is unique. I think we have one option, one brand that you can buy locally in a store, but most of them are low sugar, low calories. So that appeals to that health-conscious millennial market.
Hi. Okay, I have an idea for marketing. I would just reach out to the venues themselves and get with the coordinators when we done that. You probably already know them. But that way, the people who want that are already going to those places and connecting. And then also about expanding, I would look at King of Pops, their franchise model. They have an amazing PDF that you can just skim through and borrow ideas from.
Research.
Yeah, research. Yeah, no, here. Okay. But I really enjoyed their, so you can just kind of go digging. But you're doing amazing. Thanks. You're awesome. Thanks.
What about a King of Pops style, like, cooler?
That's literally, yeah. Our cheapest way we're going to go is that $700. The ideal would be literally, that's what we've thought of as King of Pops cards. But like, little silver bar.
Well, and just to kind of dovetail off this, I mean, when you look at franchising, when you look at permanent locations, I mean, those are long-distance plays in some ways. I think to grow quick and grow fast, you may want to think of marketing rather than a direct-to-consumer model, more of a B2B model, where the venues, the caterers, the club owners, other people that you can get into who are kind of selling it for you, because you have to decide whether you're selling it as a product or as a service, you know? And if you're selling it as a service, other people can sell that for you, and it takes a lot of the load off you, number one, but also it can widen your appeal all over the city. And so I would just think about marketing plus with the 70% number. I mean, those are now the corporate executives, those are the club owners, those are the venue owners. And they are also the ones planning a lot of the parties, whether they be the baby showers or bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, you know, all those kinds of things that you can do those kind of events, but I think trying to find those events on a one-off is a tough road.
Yes.
Hi, Brittany. So first of all, I'd love to find a place that sells a $10 martini. Where's Bronson? Yeah. Alcohol costs a lot more than $10 for like a craft, like what you're going to like really enjoy. So that's why you can just drink one and be fine with it. But so looking at like the vendors, like I'm just thinking of Life University. I attend several events there. These are people that are like-minded as far as, first of all, there's plenty of Gen Zs that are students there, right? I have interns that are still on campus there. But the events that they host, I feel like would be a really good place and space for you to like reach out to them, because I just attended a fall continuing education, and really the only beverages are water and coffee. But if there was, you know, a space for you to be, I think that would be a perfect fit. And then those are the type of people that are going to want to book, you know, in the future. Yeah.
So I want to piggyback a little bit, which you kind of touched on a little bit. I think maybe the opportunity is a little larger if you look at it more from a brand positioning type of standpoint. Because at that point, if you're a promoter of responsible drinking that includes alternatives, couple that with your story, and then imagine a scenario where a person could contact you or go to your site or something and actually find restaurants that are sober bar certified or something like that, where your brand is still out there, and you could even work with the restaurant to maybe curate a list of products that you provide or help them get. And then people know that, hey, I'm trying to be more responsible about drinking. I can look at this list of restaurants that are sober friendly, so when I'm socializing with my friends, it's not a choice of going to a specific restaurant that only offers your products, but they can find their favorite restaurant and still socialize and be with their friends who may opt for drinks that are more traditional, but they know that there are options there. Maybe they could ask for a special sober bar menu or something, and that there are drink alternatives that are already curated to not separate them from their friends or family, but enhance their experience by allowing them to have options. And then the restaurant still sees some of that revenue, so they don't necessarily look at you as a threat to their bottom line, but as a value add, because who doesn't want to support the idea of more responsible consumption, right?
Yeah, I've toyed with the idea of like consulting. I noticed when I went to Fayetteville, we went to dinner afterwards, and I asked the bartender to can you make this drink without the alcohol? And the bartender laughed and said, what? It's not a thing. And I was like, but it is. I could do it.
Yeah.
So I have toyed with the idea of like really getting in, but I love the idea of sober bar friendly, like restaurants and stuff like that. That's really cool. It's a great idea.
Yeah, I had a similar, input that, if you think about where sober people go, where they are with friends and they are socializing. When I go to a club and all they have to offer me is like literally fizzy water and it's not even flavored, I think there's a huge potential out there. When I'm having to tell bartenders, like, here's what you can actually do to meet my need, there's obviously a need out there. And I do think that's a fantastic idea that Gerald had about just collecting, and featuring that. And you could even be like a pivot point of like, sober Atlanta. Do you know what I mean? There's definitely a need out there. I definitely see it. On the second point of marketing, I'm going to say TikTok. Did you do TikTok?
So on TikTok, I have about 2,000 followers and like 158 likes, something like that. I'm not Gen Z, but I'm trying. We are really going to push TikTok next year. Now that the business is like started, and this month we're really taking time to really hone in on our message and our pricing, all that kind of stuff. TikTok is definitely the next step.
I just wanted to tell you, I think your message and your mission is all on target, and you're listening to some good ideas here. But your business model is nimble. And so I like that you're open to a permanent location, but your hair isn't on fire to go spend money on a lease. I think if I understand your business right, it sounds like you're very event driven. That's why people would pay the money. But frankly, you're offering something that's missing at a better price. I would suggest you already have affordable options. There's some people that want to spend, I can't believe people. I used to bartend in college. I'm still stuck in the prices of a cocktail from the 1980s and 90s. And so when I try to, once a year, go have some sort of a cocktail and they tell me the price, I almost fall over. So give them an occasional, more expensive alternative, but the fact that you can do business out of that footprint out there, that corner of this room would give you extra space. So there's all kinds of people you can partner with. That certification option would open the door to places that are missing the boat. So I would stay true to your mission. Keep listening for good ideas, but I think you're right on target. And just believe in the direction you're going, and you're gonna knock it out of the park.
Okay, I'm gonna do Jonathan, and then I'll end with Dave.
So I'm curious too, from a alcohol perspective. With Freudian slip. Sorry, we are talking about sober. So we do craft beer and spirits, and we're trying to market our spirit side more. And there's a lot of craft breweries that are getting into that now. If you look at the data nationwide, our country still drinks more spirits than beer, which surprises some people. So on the spirit side, I'm just thinking about like maybe there's untapped markets that you haven't thought through yet that would be more interested in less cans and more mocktail stuff. I don't know what that looks like. It could be on the nose by showing up to an AA meeting. I mean, that's kind of a joke, but it may not be. It could be literally giving those people, maybe when they're out of the program, that probably makes more sense than on step one. Or it could be churches, which could sound crazy too, but maybe it's markets that you haven't quite thought through yet and kind of following the target market wherever they go. Gen Z, I'd be curious to know, you talked about millennials and how they're health conscious, but why are the Gen Zs making their purchases? You dug into those stats some, but like from a psychological perspective, I'd be curious to know, because I have Gen Z kids. When they get to age, I'd be wanting to know, why are they making these purchase decisions? And what does it look like for them to socially drink? And where are they going? You know what I mean? Those psychological questions would be interesting to follow. I think you're doing a great job already.
Yeah, I'm trying not to get pigeonholed in the recovery zone, because our first event was at a church and it was a recovery event. So since we do sober curious options, I want to make sure that we're covering, because I don't want to just be that. I want to be the sober bar that caters to everybody. So we have thought of that, but I'm like, I want to branch out from that so we don't just come. I don't want to be the sober girl. I mean, even though I am a sober girl.
Yeah, these are great questions. So piggybacking on what Gerald said, and then also what Rob said about white labeling. So white labeling is expensive. There's three ways that any business can make money, right? They can charge more, they can sell new products to existing customers, or they can sell their existing products to new customers. So when I'm looking at brand partnerships, similar wholesale model, a service, right? You're highlighting the problem, which is people are drinking less, and your new customer base is drinking less. So then you're also providing the solution, hey, I have the answer to that. And then you can also attract new customers to existing businesses that already have a process in place. So as a business owner, I want to know, hey, how can the Little Sober Bar increase my bottom line without having to increase my headache? So first thing that comes to mind is like brewery partnerships. So if you have a place that already has a culture where people go to hang out, and you can create a place where whether someone's in recovery or whether someone's out of recovery, they can now join in on those activities and not feel excluded or not feel triggered as much. That's all, gets into the nuances of whether it'll work or not. But the brewery needs to know that, hey, what does this look like? How, are we going to experience the loss of our existing customers? And then what is the long game, right? So if you set up, let's say inside a brewery, and you're now attracting more customers, you're creating this brand, and they're on the map, then there's also really restrictive laws in Georgia for distribution for alcoholic drinks, and also non-alcoholic beer, which I think the key in that is fermented. I don't know the laws super well. I don't know if it applies to like non-alcoholic RTDs, which is ready to drink. It's the spirits that Jonathan referred to. So there could be a long thing where, hey, if this is actually taking away sales, but if they're, from people that would buy alcohol, are they now have a revenue stream of something to where someone else has already done the R&D. They know what drinks will sell, so then they can therefore be mass produced, and the brewery can then white label them. So you have this symbiotic relationship to where you're already answering questions that they would have down the road of why they would say no in the first place.
Thank you all so much. Wonderful conversation. I saw Brittany's aha moments a couple of times, your eyes widen. Love the organic conversation and all of you who are willing to give up your time this morning. So let's go to the next slide, and then definitely want to know how they can connect with you.
Yes. So this is just our little, summing it all up, that we bring non-alcoholic options to people, giving them really good tasting. I don't know. It sounds really good when I have it written out. But this is how you can connect with us. Is my personal phone number, the business email, and social media, and our website. If you scan that QR code, it'll take you directly to our booking link. So that if you're interested in partnering or if you're interested in booking the bar, it'll give you all of that. You can just fill it out and it'll go directly to me and I will reach out. And then after following this, we're having a quote-unquote happy hour right outside at the bar. I have tastes of a non-alcoholic bourbon and Coke and a rosé, a still rosé.
So, we're bringing the mobile bar to you this morning. It's parked out front, so we're have a couple more things to announce before you head out. But if you do have the time, check out Brittany's mobile bar. So, and great job, great job. All right, coming soon, I want to announce a new program that the Cherokee Office of Economic Development is doing in partnership with Hatchbridge Incubator. That's located out of Kennesaw State University. We want to help emerging entrepreneurs here in Cherokee County who have a business idea, but we want to help them turn it into reality through a 4-week boot camp series starting in January. So we're going to do the last 2 Tuesdays in January and the first 2 Tuesdays in February from 10 to 12 here. There is no charge for the boot camp, but we are seeking potential folks that have an idea, they have a concept, they haven't started their business yet, they're not sure if it's viable, they're not sure if it can go to market. We want to talk to them. Or we want to talk to someone who's already in business, but they have an early stage and they want to launch a product, but they're in their early stage development of launching the product. And the sweet part is that we do have some funding to go with this project, and so the candidate, the participant who finishes all 4 weeks, graduates, does all of their assignments, and does a mini application. Of course, we have to go through a review process. It's not guaranteed, but there's potential for up to $5,000 on the table per person to help them launch that product. We want to know how they're going to grow their business. We want to know how it's going to advance them. So, hint, hint, Brittany, I think you'd be a great candidate for this program, so I'm going to give her the very first flyer. So I have a flyer here, so I'd love for you to take one. If you know of anybody, there's a code on the bottom for people to sign and apply and sign up for. There's only 15 slots, so hopefully it'll fill up quick, but we want to support Cherokee County and those emerging entrepreneurs.
Question.
Yes?
That $5,000, is it per
person or one person?
Per person. It could be per person. But it's not guaranteed to everybody, but there's funding there to support.
Winning person.
No. Okay, any questions about Launchpad? We have a landing page, so you can go there and learn more about it. My information is on there, so you can reach out to me. If you have somebody in mind, they can apply, they can call me and talk to me about it to see if they're a good candidate for it. But we are wanting to start January 23rd. So Colin Ake, who is one of our NAB mentors who runs the Hatchbridge Incubator, along with Graham, in his office, are going to be facilitating the workshop. So there'll be a 4-series. We're going to ideate, investigate, refine, and launch. They're going to walk away with an idea deck, a founder checklist, and see if they can go to market in those 4 weeks. They're going to walk them through that step, that process. Okay, so we're excited to have a new program to support the entrepreneurs. So, please send your referrals.
Will there be a link online for that too?
Yes. Yep. It's there and on the line. And then for our next Fresh Start morning, we'll be back at Reformation Brewery in Canton. We're going to skip the first week in January because everyone's still going to be on the holiday, and I don't want to stand here by myself on the first Wednesday. So we're going to skip that and bring you back January 17th. So please come out. We're talking to a couple of folks right now. We haven't nailed down who's going to be our first speaker for January 17th, but as soon as we do, we will share that with everybody. We'd love to have your support out in Canton. And we'll continue in 24 doing Fresh Start the first and third Wednesdays. It's on our page as well, so you'll know the dates. We're sharing it on social media, so you all should be receiving those. And then next, I want to give a very, very, very large, warm thank you to Gerald Griffith, who has decided after serving with us since 2017, so I think he started actually with Jonathan when you're all doing creative problem solvers. He supported 1 Million Cups, and now with Fresh Start, coming here and bringing his equipment so we can have the microphones and he can live stream it for us so that we can share it with the community. For those folks who can't be with us on Wednesday mornings, he has graciously given us his time as a volunteer, and so he's decided going into 24, he's going to step down from his role, but I did not want him to get away before we leave for the holidays without a thank you. So Gerald, would you come up, please? You can clap. It's okay. You can get ready. It's just a small token of our appreciation to thank him for all of his support, and we're going to put it under Fresh Start Cherokee because he helped with that initiative for all of our programs. So Gerald, just want to thank you. You've been so gracious. He was already here when I started in April, so it was a smooth transition. He's just continued on, but he has made a decision to step down, and we told him, don't be a stranger. I want him to come back and take one of these seats, but he doesn't have to work, and he doesn't have to bring his equipment. So be thinking about, if you know of anybody who has the ability to live stream us, we'd love to bring on another ambassador to help support Fresh Start Mornings, so be thinking about that. So Gerald, thank you so much for your service. He has spoiled us, so now we gotta pivot and find somebody else. And then lastly, stay connected to us. Click the QR code if you're not receiving our information. And then I do encourage you a lot, sometimes when you get MailChimp and you get database emails, sometimes we go in your junk file. Please check, make sure we're not in your junk. And if we are, be so kind to move us to your inbox so that we can continue to communicate with you so that you can get all of our information. And then again, you can connect with us through our social media channels here. And then lastly, our website, CherokeeGA.org. And then if you want to learn more about Fresh Start Mornings, you can go there. It'll have the calendar on there. It'll tell you how you can apply. If you know of anybody that's 5 years or under that wants to do what Bryttany did this morning, or if you have somebody that has a really cool topic for the small business community, entrepreneurs here in our community that wants to come and share and do a mini workshop, please keep us in mind as well. All right, so let's have a little fun. Did everybody get to put their name in the hat? Whoop.
Still got a couple names.
We got a couple names. Oh.
We still gonna let Oscar play even though he left?
Nope, he left. Snooze, you lose.
Really good. Why do you not